Well, hello again, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon. My name is Paul Pilon. I'm the product educator here at DMF Lighting. Today, we're going to be going over our cylinders presentation, which is going to cover a little bit of background on some different cylinder applications and solutions that are out there in terms of where you'd want to use cylinders, why you would want to use a cylinder, and then we'll go over all of the different cylinder options that we have here at DMF. So we'll cover all of those topics sort of in that order. We also have some additional resources at the end in terms of an application guide that features some of our new decorative pendants with shades. So first of all, just a little overview. Why would we want to use cylinders within architectural lighting? Couple main reasons. One is they give us a lot of flexibility in terms of the mounting type and location that you can use them in. So we see them a lot in open ceilings that are unfinished, and also particularly shallow plenums, places where you only have the space for a junction box. So you might be able to use a surface mount rather than a recessed fixture. But all of those sorts of applications can work, and including our wall-mounted solutions where you maybe need to mount to a post or some sort of other exterior location. Those are all great reasons why you would want to use a cylinder. Next is going to be to add in additional options or an additional layer of lighting through indirect lighting. So pendants and also wall mounts have generally the option to add in indirect lighting or an uplight component to that fixture. So that's going to give you a softer, more ambient light throughout your space, help you add in an additional layer of lighting, and overall increase your lumen output out of a fixture. So great option for that. In terms of decorative, or another reason really is going to just be to add decorative or sort of architectural aesthetic appeal. So cylinders are just another form factor that we have to work with in our toolkit. So we have additional finish options, profiles, shades, decorative trims. All of those things can add into the overall style, the aesthetic of a project that's being used. So that's an additional reason we might do that. We'll explore some of those applications in a second. And finally, one great reason is also to bring light closer to your work surface. So particularly with pendants, this is a great approach to use a similar wattage of a fixture or even a lower wattage fixture. You can bring it down closer to your work surface, like with conference tables, even open office spaces, kitchens, all those sorts of areas where you can bring light closer to your work surface. It's going to give you more efficiency and greater visual acuity on whatever you're doing in terms of your tasks. So looking a little bit more at some different applications and use cases for that. These are somewhat repetitive, or at least they sort of flesh out some of the ideas we just gone over, but open offices or open ceilings, rather, like we said, is a really common one that we run into and we see out in the market. So it's a great solution to provide downlighting where you don't have a finished ceiling or don't have the space for a fully recessed fixture. In addition, some of these ceilings, because they're not finished, might be rather tall. So this is a double whammy in terms of being able to bring your light a little bit closer to your work surface or the surface that you're lighting. We see a lot of cast concrete ceilings, industrial spaces, warehouse spaces. Also, mass timber projects are being more and more commonly built. So those are less and less using a finished ceiling, but just really having the exposed timber framing. So all of those types of projects are great candidates for cylinders and pendants because you can, again, bring them lower into the space and get your downlighting effect that way. Surface mounts as well, again, depending on the height of your ceilings, can be a great solution here as well. So all those options are going to fit into those types of projects. This second use case we see quite a bit is a little similar to the first one, but in terms of gabled ceilings are another common place that we see cylinders used. Often these gabled ceilings can have very sort of extreme slopes, so something that's 12-12 or even sometimes beyond. Often we see these in maybe sort of more residential projects, places where you have, beams that are exposed and you can mount fixtures to either on the side walls or along those beams using like a wall mount solution or a surface mount from below the beam. all those sorts of options can really work to give you, again, the downlighting effect that you need, as well as maybe even some additional indirect lighting up to the ceiling. And they can also be used in a more sort of aesthetic approach to highlight architectural details if you're doing more of a narrow beam angle or something like that. So great option for these types of projects, and this obviously extends beyond the residential into other sort of, more industrial spaces as well. Again, bringing that light closer to the work surface is a great example here in like a kitchen space, but really a number of reasons here. It's obviously going to make the light fixture brighter and more efficient in bringing up the foot candle levels on those work surfaces. They're also really effective at reducing shadows because you're eliminating some of those angle clashes. If you might have a person standing in front of a work surface, you can bring that directly over the surface and avoid some of those shadows. So these are great for all those sorts of uses. Places like conference rooms, dining room tables, open offices, again, where you want to maybe bring light closer into individual workstations, are all great examples of that. Another one really can be for visual intrigue. So we have, a number of options here in terms of both sort of the aesthetic design of the cylinder, the extrusion, and perhaps a shade or something like that. But even just being able to position the light in a way where the light itself adds visual intrigue to a space. So like in this example, these wall mounts can create a nice, interesting pattern along this exterior wall, providing a lot of functional light throughout the perimeter of the space, but also adding in a unique sort of decorative element or visual intrigue to what otherwise might be sort of a plain, boring wall. Like I said, also decorative sort of architectural elements are able to be added to the space through use of cylinders. So changing the profile or the shape of your cylinder with different shades and styles are going to be able to complement and give just a little bit more of a unique or fresh look to a space that might otherwise not be doing a full renovation. So this is a great retrofit opportunity as well. Shades in particular also have a great functional benefit in that they're very low glare. So those high shielding angles really cut off a large majority of the spill around the outside of the fixture. So it's creating a very nice focused light on work surfaces, counters, dining spaces, all those sorts of things benefit really well from some of these different shade applications. And in addition, we can do or add in things like decorative trims that can extend out into that arena as well. So again, adding in some decorative architectural elements through those means as well. Another sort of technical use case that we see somewhat frequently is that in this example, we're looking at a ceiling with some applied wood beams. But we also see a lot of ceilings that maybe have acoustic treatments or drop-down acoustic treatments where you have tighter spaces in between these sort of different panels or treatment surfaces. So cylinders do allow you to really mount to a higher up mounting point where the junction box might be, and then drop that light down so that your light source really is flush or in the same plane as the bottom of that surface. So in this case, we have some 4-inch depth beams, and the 4-inch cylinder brings that light beam down to the same level, so you're not dealing with perhaps unwanted scalloping or clipping that you might get out of a recessed fixture. So that's a great application as well. Again, we see these in a lot of sort of commercial spaces with those acoustic ceiling treatments or sort of panel systems that are frequently used for a great number of reasons. So another really excellent use for our cylinders as well. So with all of that knowledge, I'm going to go into the cylinder families that we have here at DMF and just do a quick overview. The different cylinder families that we offer, we have one basically for every recessed fixture family that we have. So every recessed family has a complementing cylinder, which is a great way to, again, flesh out all of the lighting needs within your project. If you are using recessed downlights and want to add in cylinders, pendants, wall mounts, in other locations, everything's going to match very nicely and have the same dimming profile, and all whatever other sort of spec points that you have in those fixtures. So the 4 families that we have to date are here on the screen. So we have our M series, which is a 4-inch diameter cylinder body. X series are 3-inch cylinders. The C series are again a 4-inch, and the H series are a 3-inch as well. So M series and X series are going to be the most specification grade fixtures that we offer. They're all built to order and assembled right here in Carson, California. So you have the most number of options with these in terms of your lumen output, your color temperature selections. We have tunable white options, marine grade, as well as those decorative pendants with shades are all potential specialty options. So those are all different things that you can do with those different cylinders. IP65 rated options are available as well. So really wide range of applications and uses. We'll cover each of these families in the next slides in more detail, but just as an overview. The C series is again, a 4-inch cylinder family. C series and H series are both a little bit more value driven. So the configurations are somewhat more limited in terms of, beam spreads, lumen outputs, and those sorts of things. So the C series is slightly more commercially oriented. So it's up to a 2,000 lumen fixture and available in a pendant mount in an 8-inch cylinder length. The H series cylinder is all based around that 3-inch diameter extrusion, and we have a pendant mount and wall mount option there. So again, to cover in a little bit more detail, I'm first actually going to back up one more. So M series and X series cylinders are quite similar in a lot of their options. First and foremost is going to be the finishes. So M and X series cylinders are available in white, black, bronze, as well as a brushed aluminum, which is a bit more of or really is a spun aluminum finish. So that gives you sort of a really nice sort of premium look that has, that brushed aluminum metal look below it, or below that, in that sheen. We also do offer these in a custom color as well. So you can have a custom color done for your cylinders, including if you have a standard trim, you can have a 2-tone look there, which is really nice. And then, like I said, we do have marine grade finishes, which come in a standard white and black. So all of those finish options are available for all of the different cylinder styles within the M and X series family. M series cylinders come in 4-inch, 8-inch, and 12-inch lengths. So we have the pendant, surface, and wall mount are each 4, 8, and 12 inches there on the screen. The 4 and 8-inch will accommodate up to 2,000 lumens. The larger 12-inch size will accommodate up to 3,000 lumens. For all of those, that's a combined lumen output. So it's going to give you, top and bottom or direct, indirect. That total lumen output can be up to 3,000 lumens. So looking at one of the larger ones here, this is the 12-inch version with a downlight and uplight. The 4-inch size will accommodate only that downlight or the direct lighting option. The other two are able to accommodate both indirect and direct. So we have fixed downlight options here. We have an adjustable module available in this family, as well as a wall wash trim. So all of those can be configured in different variations. There are emergency kit options available here as well, so you can have emergency lighting out of these cylinders, which is a great feature. Like I mentioned, we have marine grade options and those IP65 rated options. So across all of the pendant, surface, and wall mounts, there are different options ranging for that. One thing we do like to point out is that for doing a wet rated wall mount or an IP65 rated wall mount, we have 2 different brackets here. So this is the wide wet rated bracket that you get with any of those wet rated cylinders. So it's just a slightly different look. The bracket is just about the size of the cylinder extrusion. But we do also have a more slim bracket. The slim bracket, just to note in terms of coordination, is only going to work on a single gang electrical box. So you have that slim bracket here is really smaller or lower in profile than the width of the cylinder. So it's a nice, slim architectural look that you get out of that. But just note that for your installation. And the junction box has to be only a single gang junction box there. In terms of the trim styles we have available, so there's our standard trim, which is also most commonly known as a bevel trim. On our wet rated cylinders in this family, you do also have a sealed off lens in front of all of that. We do have a snoot trim, which just drops down below, gives you a little bit more shielding without really sort of changing the profile of the cylinder too much. There's our wall wash trim, which sits really nice and discreetly inside of the lens of the, the extrusion of the fixture, and has a nice rotation feature built in. And then we do have our two different decorative trims. So the standard decorative trim is the one we just saw here a moment ago. So it sits down below the, or rather about 2 inches down below the front of the fixture, and gives a really nice soft diffused sort of look, and has a nice sort of clear acrylic all the way in the bottom there. So a really nice sort of decorative architectural look. And then we do have a low profile decorative one as well, which is in this larger wall mount we were just looking at. So similar design in that it's just very, very thin. So you get a nice sort of clear acrylic and a frosted lens on there. So both of these are really nice options to give you more diffuse light and a really clean look. The next group of cylinders, and actually, sorry, I wanted to just show you one more thing we do have available for the M series as well. Junction box covers. So for those sort of open sealing applications where you have exposed junction boxes, this can be one great solution to really clean up your installation. So the junction box cover goes right around the entirety of the junction box, and then it includes mounting plates for both our surface mounts and our pendants. The pendants all share these same no visible hardware magnetic canopies. So the actual mounting bracket has the screw holes and will go into your junction box, and then there is a magnetic cover that goes over that to clean it all off. So in terms of using that with the junction box cover, you have a specific plate that just lines up directly with that. So it gives you a really nice, clean, covered look over your junction box. Again, great for those sorts of exposed ceilings where you have junction boxes that are going to be visible for the end of the project. Moving on to our X series cylinder, again, relatively similar in the number of options that we offer here from the M series. So same pendant surface and wall mount options. We have in this family 2 different extrusion lengths. So we have a 6.5 inch extrusion, so the smaller size. This will accommodate a downlight module or the downlight or direct light only. And then we do have a 9-inch extrusion length, which gives you that direct and indirect option. So really great options for those. And then in terms of the lumen outputs, this again accommodates the X series downlight modules, so you can get up to 1500 lumens in one of those modules. Similarly, we have marine grade options as well as those IP65 rated options. And one thing I did want to point out that's a great feature for the X series cylinders. So we have, in terms of the pendants, we have our cord mounted and our rigid stems for both of these families. The X series, excuse me, the M series stems on our 4-inch cylinders. These come in 2 foot, 4 foot, or custom lengths. However, they are not field modifiable. So the actual stem is the rigid support for the fixture. So that cannot be changed in the field. The X series stems, on the other hand, those are able to be modified in the field. So it's a really nice feature. Again, same 2 foot, 4 foot, or custom lengths up to 96 inches as the M series. However, the stem just operates a little bit differently. There's a cable inside along with a grommet, so that is the actual support for the fixture. So if you were to modify them, you can just simply unthread the stem from the cylinder, cut it down to length, and cut the cable to the appropriate length as well. And then you can reassemble that in the field. So great feature there. The cord mounted versions are obviously all field cuttable as well. So those are available again in standard 2 foot, 4 foot, or custom lengths up to 10 feet. So a lot of flexibility, and you can obviously modify those and set those to the exact length that you need in the field, no problem. Similarly to the M series, the wall mount have both a slim and sort of wide bracket here. And in the surface mount, we do actually have two different options as well. So the surface mounted versions of the X series cylinders, because it is a 3-inch diameter cylinder body, a standard 4-inch junction box is going to be larger than the diameter of the cylinder. So we have a standard flange option, which is going to be the easiest installation. If you have a 4-inch junction box, the standard flange will cover 3-inch, 4-inch junction boxes in the ceiling, and that ring will cover over it very cleanly. So you have a simple installation with just sort of a very minimal flange that's going to match the finish of your cylinder. However, we do also have a flangeless mounting ring. So this mounting ring here is going to give you that same 3-inch diameter all the way up to the ceiling. Each cylinder that you do in this configuration is supplied with this white mounting ring that you see here. The one thing is that you do need a 3-inch junction box extension, or sometimes they're referred to as plaster rings in the electrical trade, but they'll look just like this. So they have the extension ring that comes out of the junction box, and so your tradesmen are just going to have to cut a 3-inch hole in that ceiling, and then the screw holes are going to be 2 3/4 inches on center spacing. So just note that if you're doing the flangeless surface mount for the X series, it's definitely a very nice, clean architectural look when all assembled, and gives you a really smooth profile all the way up to the top, but just have to coordinate that ahead of time. Make sure you get the proper mounting and junction box within the ceiling. The trims that we do have available for the X series cylinders, so we have a standard as well as an adjustable. So the adjustable trim is just going to give you the right amount of space to have your module within there. So it has that adjustable module in the front, which you can then rotate throughout the trim. So they're both sort of standard trim styles, just one for a downlight and one for an adjustable. We do have a snoot option here as well, along with that wall wash. And then we have 3 different decorative trims in this case. We have the decorative hyperbolic, which is quite a popular option, has a really beautiful hyperbolic shape on the inside here. So you can see sort of flares out from the middle and is open to the optic on the inside. We have our decorative open, which is sort of frosted all the way down the sides of the trim and then open to, again, the optic on the inside with a little bit of a clear acrylic in the front. And then we have a decorative float, which unfortunately I don't have here, but is fully frosted on the bottom and then has clear acrylic all the way on the side. So 3 great decorative options, again, are going to give you, especially with the float, a more diffuse light, but really add to sort of the aesthetic appeal and visual intrigue of the space. Finally, or not quite finally, but for MNX series, we have now also some new decorative pendants with shades. So a couple of them are behind me here. We have the M series and the 12-inch with the large shade, X series a 9-inch cylinder and medium, and X series 6-inch and large. So all of the different cylinder extrusion lengths and shades can be mixed and matched with all of these different configurations that you see here on the screen. So the X series you'll now find under, they have their own spec sheets, and we're transitioning to a new nomenclature. So they're just going to be known as 3-inch and 4-inch cylinders, respectively. So you'll find that 3-inch decorative pendants with shades and 4-inch decorative pendants with shades on our website. But you can see all the combinations here with the narrow, medium, and large shade. Another unique one that we have that's that I like to point out is the 4-inch M series pendant with the narrow shade. The inset on the inside of that narrow shade is exactly 4 inches, so you end up seeing really just the profile of the narrow shade itself. So it's a really kind of nice and cool looking shade design. But those are all the different options that you see there on the screen in front of you. We also do have some new marine grade options for these cylinders, like I mentioned before. So these are finished to the AAMA 2605 specification. So it gives you a very durable marine grade finish available in a black or white standard finish. And then do have in these options turtle friendly lighting modules as well. So great for those coastal areas that need it. I should note turtle friendly options are available across the entirety of the M&X series cylinders and also within the downlights. However, we do see them really most commonly in coastal applications. So going to be the most, rather the best choice to get these in a marine grade cylinder. So you have the durable finish, the IP65 rating, and your turtle friendly lighting all in one. So you can look for those under the marine grade cut sheet and you'll see that turtle friendly option there. Now moving on to, so we have our C series and H series. So again, our more sort of budget driven and affordable cylinder families. The C series cylinder comes in essentially one configuration. We have an 8-inch cylinder extrusion length, and then we have in two different pendant options. So we have either an 8-foot field cuttable cord or two different stem lengths. So we have 2-foot or 4-foot length stems. Again, just sort of like the M series, those stems are not going to be field modifiable. So you have that set 2 or 4-foot length, or again, an 8-foot field cuttable cord. The C series features a 1000 to 2000 lumen module. So you have 1000, 1500, or 2000 to choose from in your specification. We have black or white finishes and 3 standard CCTs of 3000, 3500, or 4000. And it's available in 0 to 10 volt, 5% dimming, and that's a dual voltage driver, so no specification on the voltage for that. And then finally, that brings us over to our H series cylinders. So the H series is, again, a really great, slightly more budget-driven line. It's slightly more residentially focused in that it is a 120 volt, 5% dimming driver. So still see a good amount of this in sort of other hospitality or potentially multifamily type applications. But we have our pendant mount option, which is has a 5.5-inch acrylic shade, and then this partial stem and a 4-foot field cuttable cord. So again, able to be tailored to the length or the height that you need from it. And that acrylic shade is really going to give you a very nice sort of soft diffused look as well. So really sort of clean option. The H series also features a warm dim module. It's not quite showing as much on the camera here, but the range here is a 3000 to 2200. So slightly cooler on the low end than our M and X series warm dim, which goes down to 1800, but really nice cylinder option. And then we do have our wall mount in this family as well. So the configuration here is an IP65 rated wall mount with a downlight option. And that is also under the 4-inch ADA requirement. So these are ADA compliant along with that IP65 rating. So great for, again, outdoor exterior applications, places where you need a lot of protection and a more sort of affordable wall-mounted cylinder. So these are available in a black and white finish, and that pendant is available in a standard white finish. Finally, just sort of the lighting module on the inside. Again, these feature the H series modules. So this is either a warm dim, 3000K or 2700K module. That is in a 350 to 950 lumen output, and that's a selectable lumen output right on the back of the module. So you can just set that in the field as soon as you're assembling them. They come in a box, assembled, or rather unassembled in 3 individual pieces, largely so that you do make sure to set that lumen output correctly. It's quite simple, and it still features the quick connects that are on our module. So the module has a quick connect inside the cylinder. So those just snap together, and then you have your trim piece that finishes it all off. So really nice quick assembly, but that gives you the option to set that lumen output, per your application's requirements. So That sort of wraps up all the product content that I have to share with you all today. Just wanted to mention that one last additional resource that we have for you. So we do have on our website under resources and additional resources, an application guide for performance decorative lighting. That features a lot of great information on our new decorative pendants with shades. So everything from, information on the cutoff angles to light loss and performance aspects. So you get a good look at how the different optics and shade profiles combine and affect that overall lumen output. So great resources in there. Please do check that out and share that with anybody that might be interested, because that can really help sort of guide some of the decision making around some of these products. So once again, I wanted to thank you all for joining us today. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us, and hope to see you all again soon. I do see we have one question here in the Q&A, so I'll try to address that directly through there. So thank you again.